What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube, Instagram, and 13th Man Sports Facebook page. If you guys are tuning in, we appreciate everybody for tuning in to the weekly show once again. Wednesday at 6 o'clock, you can find Blake and I, Coach and Shane, talking some Canadian football on a weekly basis. A lot to get into, folks, as you saw Blake and I's face yesterday. There was some news in the CFL, and there's even some more news to talk about, more than just the Nathan Rourke stuff. So excited to get the fellas on, talk about. Obviously, I'm sure Nathan's going to kind of take up a little bit of time here on the show tonight. But then, there's some other news I'm kind of excited to hear about. I believe Shane was probably in attendance for the Ottawa Saskatchewan game, which, oh my goodness, we'll get into that in 3 minute drill. Ottawa with a new quarterback and Masoli, new old, I guess, quarterback. Bo Levi Mitchell getting benched. We'll get into that. And much, much more later in the show. But before we do, as always, I'm joined by my main man, my co-host, Blake. Blake, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, this time you guys get to see my face. You didn't see my face yesterday. I won't say I was illegally driving because I was using the hands free, but in full transparency, I was driving when we did the show yesterday. So everybody heard my voice, but they didn't get to see my face with yesterday's big news. So it's definitely a lot to talk about, as you said, Jeremiah Masoli, the command center. I don't even know if you guys want to get into that, but definitely a lot of stuff to talk about. So I think we should get right into it with the 3 minute drill.
All right, buddy, let's get into it. As always, the 3 minute drill to start off the show, where we quickly recap last week's action. So let me quickly put on a quick timer here, folks. And let's begin the 3 minute drill for week number 10 in the CFL. Last week was kicked off by what the F was the end of that game. Ottawa won, Saskatchewan won, and it ends in a tie. Nobody wins in the end. Um, Man, I know. I feel like majority of the times, the command center review system is, pretty good thing to have, but I feel like maybe sometimes it's a little bit too much to have access like this, and just, for the one call, I believe it was on the Ottawa defender, the pass interference. Tough call. I think obviously everything in slow motion looks like, pass interference, you could argue. So I think it's just tough when you slow things down. When it's, real speed, it's kind of it looks a little bit more bang bang. And then you just make the officials look even that much worse. And then just the end of the game was so sloppy on Saskatchewan, or Ottawa is going to win, Saskatchewan is going to win, review after review. And just I feel like that's probably the wrong way that you want to show your game. So they kicked off the week with a tie between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Ottawa Redblacks. Curious to hear about Shane's experience being at the game, if I'm not mistaken. So on Friday night, the Argos once again won, and I love that you're shaking your head. But Calgary, Jake Mayer, I've been hard on him. He actually had himself a pretty good game. I believe he threw for just about just under 400 yards. But once again, wasn't able to get in the end zone enough. I believe he only threw for one touchdown pass, one interception, and the Argos, led by Nick Arbuckle, led by Kadeem Carey, who had, I believe, over 100 scrimmage yards. I
Yep.
think around about 90 yards rushing, a touchdown on the ground, and then a few receptions as well. And then once again, Janarian Grant with a punt return touchdown for the Argos. He has been
Dude's ins-
what a story so far this season, and for multiple seasons. Honestly, he is just the best in the business when it comes to the return game, and absolutely a weapon. And teams should really start to consider about not kicking him the ball, and thinking about other possibilities. So Saturday was the Montreal Alouettes, led by Davis Alexander, once again beating the Hamilton Tiger Cats 33-23, and a little bit of a head scratcher. I wasn't able to watch this game, but I was getting updates throughout the game. Bo Levi Mitchell getting benched for Taylor Powell throughout the game. Very curious to see that decision, and obviously he has been named the starter for this upcoming week. So, I thought Bo's been playing well, and obviously they come away with a loss, but they had kind of hit a little bit of a high there, winning back to back games, and definitely thought it was a little bit strange for them to pull Bo so quickly. So. was a interesting one on Saturday, and then um, we'll go a little bit over the 3-minute drill this week. Not spend too much time on it though, because there honestly wasn't much to talk about. The Edmonton Elks beat our BC Lions 33-16. The BC Lions actually got out to a hot start. David Mackey was able to punch in a touchdown right away, but after that, it was some field goals and some singles. The BC Lions weren't able to muster a offensive touchdown or any touchdown in general after that point on. And then Trey Ford was in the game for the Elks for a little bit. He ended up getting hurt, leaving the game with I believe a rib or chest injury. I know he was kind of dealing with some difficulty there. And MBT came in the game, looked like he has been all year. Very comfortable in there, was making some plays, and it was able to lead the Elks to a victory. So interested to see how the Elks continue to go from here. And with the matchup in Hamilton this week, I'm interested to see a very winnable game. They could maybe win 3 games here, or Hamilton can win is it, I believe, 3 or 4 or something like that. So that will end this week's 3-minute drill. And let's not beat around the bush. Let's bring him in. Let's bring in Coach Bill first. Coach, thank you so much. How you doing?
I love that.
Huh?
I love that you're already ready to go, Coach.
I'm in rare form today.
Love it. So let's go to our other man, Shane. Love the uni, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I figured with the news out of BC the other day, I should probably rock it. Maybe next week I'll rock the Edmonton jersey with the news that's expected at the end of this week.
How many teams jerseys do you have, Shane?
7. I have the.
Oh, sick. That's
I'm
sick.
only missing Montreal and Toronto. So yeah,
And you have all players?
No, not yet. So I have 2
No.
blank. So I have BC, Calgary, Ottawa, and Edmonton as crested. I got blank Winnipeg and Rough Riders. The Reebok style one, so I'm just kind of depending on who I want to throw back there. And then I need Montreal and Toronto.
Shane, I'll tell you what. DM me off air, and next week when I go on my trip, we'll complete your jersey collection.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I am. I've been wanting to finish it off, but to be honest, I'm not a fan of the new Montreal jerseys for the most part. So I'm trying to find one of the old style, like Anthony Calvillo era Montreal jerseys, and then I love Toronto's new ones, but I'm trying to get my hands on like a Chad Kackert or Chris Van Zyl 2012 style jersey.
All right, I think we should. What do you think, Cole? Should we ask Coach about the Riders game, or should we just let him go off on what he wants to talk about?
We'll get into it. So obviously there's some big news. Shane's wearing the jersey for a reason. I honestly wanted to kind of give you guys the floor tonight. Me and Blake going live last night was able to kind of give our opinions, our thoughts, and obviously we'll kind of jump in here and there. But I know Coach, right away, but when everyone's kind of reaction was very happy, but sad at the same time. Maybe that's the right word. So maybe I'll give it to Coach first, and then Shane, you can feel free to jump in afterwards, buddy. But Coach, the floor is yours. How do you feel about the news?
Nah. I'm gonna let Shane be the analytical one and speak and go first. I'm gonna Nah. Shane, go first. I feed off of you well.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've had a couple of discussions off air about this. I get it. You're hosting the Grey Cup. VA's hurt. You've lost I think it's 3 in a row or 2 of the last 3. I understand the side of it, the business side of it. I understand the money side of it. I like the fact that they're not just going to hand over the starting role to Rourke by the sounds of it. He sounds like he's starting Sunday, but that's because VA is still hurt. So I'm interested to see what happens when he's back. I just think it's a full circle moment, right? VA was brought in when Rourke got hurt originally. Now Rourke's being brought in because VA is hurt. But I feel bad for VA. You're playing at an MOP level. You are getting paid like a starter. You just signed an extension through 2026. And then you get hurt, no fault of your own. And they bring in another quarterback and they're paying them starter money on a 3-year deal. I'm very interested. I would love to be a fly on the wall when they had that conversation with VA about it. I've heard wonderful things about VA as being a great teammate, being wonderful to work with as a teammate. But I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall. So I don't know. I want to see what happens. I don't think you can't go into 2025 with both of them. I think VA is the one that gets moved, and he'll probably end up in Toronto or Hamilton next season.
All right, Coach, the floor is yours, I believe.
I spent most of this afternoon really thinking about what I wanted to say, because for me, sitting with Vernon, talking with him, interviewing him, and seeing and knowing of Vernon since I was in high school, I'm a big fan of his, big fan of his, and I want to see the brother be successful. But from a business standpoint, I understand, just like Shane, just like we all do, it's a business. At the end of the day, the business is cruel. It's a cold business, man. You're playing at an MOP level, you get hurt, unfortunately, and I just want to see. I gotta be careful what I say. For the first time ever, I have to be careful what I say. So now I get it. I'm kind of 60-40 on it. Like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm upset because VA has come a long way. It's his opportunity. I still believe that when he comes back, he's going to get his chance to show what he can do. For the long term, yes, Nathan is probably going to be the guy for the BC Lions, rightfully so. But let Vernon win this one. I want to see Vernon win a Grey Cup as the starter.
Coaches, is there anyone that's gotten the shorter end of the stick than VA? Like, honestly, like he kind of gets run out in Montreal because Trevor Harris is there. Same thing in Hamilton because they had Dane Evans. Like, this is the third time. And like, if either one of you guys watched mine and Cole's live yesterday, I kind of put my feelings known out there. But it's like, man, I just feel terrible for the guy. Like, honestly.
I would say, even dating back to, like, you look at a guy like a Tracy Ham. I know I'm dating myself, but a Tracy Ham, when he was in Edmonton, when he was in Baltimore, when he was in Montreal, well loved. A Damon Allen, everywhere Damon went, he was pretty much loved. I don't really know much. I didn't really hear any bad things about, like, Damon, as far as, like, he was ran out of town. But the one person that I can think of that had a similar situation to this was Darian Durant in Saskatchewan. And it took till last season for him to come back. So for VA to be kind of ran out of everywhere, and this is can I say what I really want to say?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I hate to see this happen to a brother. I really do, because the business the business is so fucked up. The football business is fucked up at times. And this goes, and I'm not even just gonna say as a black quarterback. I'm saying for the game in general. The game is not made for the players. It sucks. You get hurt, they bring somebody in, and you kind of don't get your chance to really show what you can really do. It's tough. It's a tough ass business, man.
Yeah, no,
I thought I had words, but if Vernon is happy and Vernon knows things that we don't, because we don't know the conversations that are happening inside with the BC Lions. If Vernon's happy, cool, we leave it at that. If Vernon did come out and say he was upset or he was kind of caught off guard by the move or whatever, then we can have that conversation. But right now, they're still second in the West. Whatever this QB situation is, they'll figure it out over the next few weeks. And hopefully, for me, I hope to see Vernon back starting, and we see y'all in the West Final.
No, like coach, I totally get what you mean because it's not near the same scale, but take a guy like Jake Dolegala. He started the game on Sunday, and now he's without a job. He doesn't have a job anymore.
That was you see you took I was gonna mention that. I feel bad for Jake also because he did all he could. The game just didn't go in his favor. Yeah, Jake made some mistakes. I still don't understand why they went for it on third down, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. Uh, Jake's out of a job, and where's Jake gonna go? And what's he gonna do? No, that's the unanswered. That's the messed up part about the business, man. It's cutthroat.
Absolutely, man.
So I want to jump in and I'm curious on how much Vernon Adams' decision for moving away from BC when he made the CFL, right? Because BC owned his rights. And then he's like, I don't want to sign with you guys, which made sense. They had like Lule, they had Jennings. They had a pretty deep quarterback group. But we talk about, especially the CFL, it's a very tight-knit group, right? There's a lot of respect with each other. GMs talk. I'm curious on if during that time there was some reputation put on VA that maybe he was selfish in a way where he's like he didn't want to come in and earn a spot. He wanted to be handed. I'm not sure if that happened. I'm just wondering on given how well we know how intertwined these GMs are and whatnot, if some of them kind of put Vernon behind the eight ball before he was ever really given a chance to show what he can do. Because like, there's no way you pick like Johnny Manziel over VA, or you move on from VA and put in like Trevor Harris after like 2 games. Like it just there's a lot of questions that I have regarding VA in the CFL, and I'm just curious on how it might tie to when he first came into the league and he vocally said he didn't want to sign in BC.
That's a good ass question.
It is. I mean, I've never thought about it like that, but I mean, it could definitely be a possibility from like the standpoint of him not really being able to really, be comfortable, kind of find a place that's, until BC where you could, call home, where you could really feel, valued and kind of an asset to the organization. I feel like we've kind of Blake, I believe, mentioned all of his stops along the way and stuff like that, and it's almost seemed like at every turn he's almost got kind of stabbed in the back to a certain extent. So maybe at some point, there was some early rumblings around the league of maybe some stuff like that, but I really hope something like that would not affect the minds of like general managers and stuff like that, because Vernon's obviously turned out to be a hell of a player, and obviously those guys have been proven wrong. So just to kind of bring it back to like before I ask Coach and Shane another question, but just at the end of the day, obviously I'm happy. Me and Blake talked about it. I'm also I feel really shitty for VA, but Coach has said it, everyone's kind of said it as well, right? It's a business at the end of the day. Vernon Adams isn't the first, and he won't be the last for this to happen, right? It happens in the NFL, it happens in the CFL. I'm sure it happens in the XFL, not to the certain extent to these guys that are stars and that are guys in the community, stuff like that. But this happens on a daily basis. No, sorry, not a daily basis, a yearly basis, a seasonal basis of veterans, guys that are on teams for much longer than Vernon Adams, to be quite honest. Vernon Adams has been here for 2.5 years. The guys that have been on teams for 10, 11, 12 seasons and been shown the door. So, like I mentioned, he's not the first and he won't be the last. Coach, if you wanna maybe jump in before I ask you guys a question, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I really want to say this finally. To all these punk ass fucking idiots that want to sit there and make jokes about VA potentially losing his job, and them idiots on Twitter that want to make racist ass comments, about. I've seen it. I've seen them. The racist, stupid comments that they make. I would like to see a lot of those fat fucks throw a football through a tire and try to compete and do the shit that VA does. It's so easy for people to sit there and say, hey, he lost his job. Kid Canada came back and took your job. No, I get so sick and tired of some of these racist fucking idiots. They say stupid shit and they call into question the intelligence of a black quarterback. If Vernon has a bad game or something happens, his intelligence is called into question. If Trey Ford has a bad game, he can't read coverage. Black quarterbacks can't read; they can just run. I get so sick and tired of that narrative because we can do more than just that. There's been a lot of great black quarterbacks that have came through the CFL and the NFL just in general. So these trolls, and one of them is very reputable. He runs. He's on. I'm not gonna say his name, but he on Instagram and he making funny jokes about VA and all that. And it's sad because he's black and making fun of one of our own. That gets under my skin so much. You just don't understand. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Just
Yeah,
fuck them. Fuck them.
well said, Coach. I kind of reiterate what Blake said about this is a safe space and a platform for us to kind of speak our minds on a weekly basis. So I'm glad you got that off your chest. Now, where I'm going to kind of turn it back to you guys is there's obviously been for Shane's betting purposes and stuff like that. The Lions have kind of there's been some talk about Lions being the favorites and whatnot. Does this change your opinions at all? Did the Lions move up? Do they move down? Do they stay the same for BC this season? I'll go with Shane first, who's obviously shaking his head. But Shane, maybe just elaborate a little bit.
No, I mean, there's still so much. Like, Dolegala wasn't the reason they lost last game.
No, it's because they gave up 10-yard passes the entire game.
Like, there's so much. And obviously having a quarterback that can control the play, control the offense, like Rourke and VA can do, is massive. But at some point this season, you're going to need the defense to step up and win a game or two, or be the reason why, your offense only needs to score 20 points in a game. And we just haven't seen that from the BC defense. And it is a massive issue. It's been an issue all year. They've had struggles going back to last year, being able to run the ball or being able to stop the run. I don't think Nathan Rourke magically makes them the top team in the West. Will he win them some games? Probably, especially if they're playing a team like Hamilton, who is just as bad defensively, or Edmonton, who, yes, they've turned it on, as of late, but still struggled against the pass for most of the season. So, Nathan Rourke will make them a better team. A healthy VA makes them a better team than they're currently at. But I don't see it being enough to justify the jump that I've seen in them being I think they're now right behind on some books and right ahead of Montreal as Grey Cup favorites. It's FanDuel has Nathan Rourke now as the second best option to win MOP. And I mean that's just a football thing. If Tom Brady missed the first 8 games of the NFL season, he comes back game 9, they would probably put him in the top 5, because what Tom Brady can do in 9 games is what some quarterbacks can do in 18 or 16. So Nathan Rourke can put up numbers, but I don't know. I think, again, sports books are designed to make money. When you place money and you lose, they're going to want to, that's how they make their money. So they're going to put in more favorable odds, but I just wouldn't jump on it. I don't think the odds actually show where this team is right now. But in 2-3 weeks' time, if they run off 2-3 wins, might be having a different conversation.
I'm more disappointed in the defense than anything else. I'm ashamed to even say it, because y'all know how much I love RP in that defense, but they're playing soft. I'm gonna call them out and say it. It's not to the expectation that I know RP sets for that defense. Where are the linebackers at? Only one guy is making plays, and that's what was his name? Halatic.
He's hurt
Melodic.
now.
Well, great. Well, fuck. But the only thing they did pretty good was they got to MBT a couple times. They got Trey out the game, but it's inconsistent. There hasn't been a consistency from the front line. The secondary is giving up plays that is uncustomary for them. So I need more. And in this matchup against Winnipeg, they're going to be tested. So who's going to step up and make plays? Gary Peters can't do everything on his own. He needs help. That secondary's got to step up. Just the whole defense in general needs to step up. That's
Yeah,
just my
no, and you're not the only coach to say that. Like even Coach Campbell, and I'm paraphrasing here, but after the game, he basically said for the last month, our defense has been playing garbage. He's not wrong. Like he's not.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing is like when you game plan I'm talking about offensively. When you game plan, it's different from game planning for Vernon and game planning for Jake. Am I right, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, Jake isn't going to tuck the ball and run 25 yards on you if you break down your defensive line coverage on him. If you can't contain him, you're not worried about him.
Right, but you're not going to call play actions where you can like Vernon can move the pocket.
Yeah,
and extend plays.
and
But Jake is not going to do that.
At doing that.
Oh, beautiful! And the funny thing is, it's the way they sell it. It's in the fundamentals. It's in how you sell it. With William stand back there, so because you're gonna have to respect. You have to respect the run with William back there. William had a very solid game. He was working it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I'm baffled right now. This is not a BC team that I'm used to seeing, and this is coming from a Rider fan. I'm confused of what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, they've given up the second most yards in the CFL, right behind Montreal. They're averaging like 371 yards against per game. They've been really good against not score, like stopping teams from scoring. They're kind of middle of the pack. They're giving up 25.3 points a game. But like at the end of the day, when you're giving up 371 yards, you're not going to win many games.
Nope.
So like, I don't care how good of a defense you have, if that's a bend never break mentality. If you're consistently giving up points, even if it's threes, and your offense can't produce, like we've seen, they got shut out 2 weeks ago, put up 13 last week. You're not going to win many games. And I mean, every team is over 300 yards against, so it's not like you're looking for a sub 300 game, but you're looking for a sub 350 or around a 350 game. Knock it down 20 to 25 yards, you're probably in a good position to win more games than not.
And the penalties are killing them right now. These penalties, that one that got Edmonton on at the goal line, why? Like why are you doing that?
The roughing the kicker, man. The roughing the kicker killed them on Sunday.
Yeah.
See,
If that flanco guy doesn't run into the punter, the Lions offense gets the ball, or the Lions offense get the ball back within striking distance, and instead they hit the punter. Edmonton gets the first down, and they go score and take a two possession lead. So it's like those fourth quarter penalties didn't really haven't happened in previous years. But go on, Shane.
Well, that's the thing is, like I talked about it in Ottawa. I made a note of it in my game day preview for Ottawa versus Calgary tomorrow. It was like Ottawa has one of the fewest penalties in the league. They have like 55. Calgary is also low, or BC is also low. They're like fourth at 63, but it's the time of the penalties, right? It's those second down penalties that convert to first, like automatic first downs. It's first or second and short penalties that push the ball back 5-10 yards, puts you in second and long. Like it's those type of penalties that hurt the most. And I think BC has kind of struggled with that too, where it's like they take stupid penalties at stupid times and it ends up hurting them. It's not taking like a false start on first down, like in your own zone. It doesn't make that much of a difference when instead of a false start at 2nd and 3 on your opponent's 30-yard line. So it's
Yeah.
the times of the penalties matter more than the actual penalties.
Yeah. I agree. Well said. To kind of put a bow on the Lions talk that this has turned into, defensively, honestly, I've said it all year with Blake on, post game shows, whatnot. The playmaking has gone out the window from last year from guys like, Jalen Edwards Cooper, who was here, Marcus Sales, TJ Lee was obviously maybe you could say a little bit more, healthy, obviously still battling back and making plays out there, but probably not to the TJ Lee we know him. Gary Peters, like Coach mentioned, has been balling all season, I feel like. And people may say he's been quiet, but that's because he's not really getting much targets out there. I know he made a nice pass breakup on Gino on Sunday. But when he's getting the ball thrown to, he's making plays. But other than that, the secondary has been a shell of itself compared to last season. And then finishing up front, they haven't finished whatsoever other than the first few weeks that Pete Robertson was kind of coming on. Siona Tama's absolutely fallen off. And then Christian Covington's been a very, very,
Non-existent.
very
A
underwhelming.
bust.
Yeah, a very underwhelming addition. So let's put a bow on there, and let's get
Wait.
into.
Before we get into our picks, I
We're not
have.
going to picks, buddy. We're not going to
Okay.
picks. We got some time. We got some time. So
Here's the
But
thing,
I
real
have
quick.
something. Sorry, Shane. Go
No,
ahead.
go, Blake. Go.
No, I was gonna say that I need to ask you two because you two were the most involved in this game. Shane, I believe you were at the game last week, correct?
Oh,
So what did you both think about the debacle at the end of the game and into overtime?
well, I'll answer that in a second. But you guys talk about the defensive line. BC's third in sacks with 20 so far this season.
I know it's still
Like
and sacks are down. That's why it doesn't seem like to
no,
us.
it's
It
crazy.
seems like but the league as a whole is down. So it's like 20. Yeah, they're third in the league. Nobody else is really putting up numbers. So it's like yes, they are third, but they aren't. They like those are really empty calorie sacks. I'll be 100% honest. Empty
They
calorie
is.
sacks.
But I mean, that's still what they're 9 games in. That's like just over 2 sacks a game. That's not something to
It's
shake
not
a stick
terrible.
at.
Absolutely,
It's not
absolutely.
terrible either. But yeah, you
Hey,
obviously want to get
maybe
you
I'm
want to get up to
spoiled
3,
considering
right?
Matthew Betts was here last year and David
Yeah.
Menard was putting up, a double-digit sacks. So maybe I'm
See,
spoiled,
my
but
thing
it's yeah, go ahead, Shane.
my thing with like Covington is like it just feels like he's not being utilized properly in pat. Like he's being utilized more as a run stopper. Like it looks like he's just like every time I watch the D line for them, it seems like his role is to just plug up the middle. Like he's not. They don't want him going after the quarterback as much as taking that extra guy away from another defender to get after him.
I don't think that's I don't think that's his role though, because Josh Banks is a true one tech. He's always played that role as the double team eater. I think it's the attention teams are just giving him.
Yeah, but I'm
Not
saying
just
it just seems like he's not. He is doing a role that maybe he's not really being able to show how good of a player he really is.
I'll disagree on that. If he's a true one tech, he's doing his job
he's
right.
not though. He's playing three tech. Like he's playing his position. He's played at the NFL. The one tech is the true one technique between the
They're
center and
taking
guard.
a
Three
double
tech.
team in the A, shading the A.
Yes. So he's playing his position. I think it's partly he's just not used to the CFL, and then just the attention teams are probably showing him that this is Christian Covington. We're going to double him on most snaps, right? Because Josh Banks has been talked about throughout BC Lions camps for the last few years of being one of the most underrated guys throughout the team, the defensive line, because he's that one tech defensive tackle that doesn't get any sacks. He just truly eats double teams and does his job on the defense, right? And he's been great at it. Like if you kind of take your eyes off Covington sometimes, watch Josh Banks, and he does a fabulous job of that. And that's maybe why he hasn't gotten sacks, right? Because Covington's getting that double team now, and Josh Banks has never really been that finisher as he's getting his looks now with that single team with the one-on-one with the guard, and he's just not that guy. He's always been a kind of a guy that's just 8 and 2 blocks pretty much. He's never really been a penetrator in terms of like being effective in the run game other than just, like I said, being a plug. So I think it's kind of just the attention they've shown him, and it's like, yeah, you're getting double, but like, fuck, man, make a play. Like you're like, it is sucks. Like it sucks for him for sure, but we paid you, and like you're an NFL veteran, so, and I get it. Like it's a tough adjustment, but we'll kind of end the lines and I guess we were talking about the Ottawa Saskatchewan, weren't we? Sorry.
Oh
Yes,
man,
that's what Blake asked.
that game was a debacle in overtime. So between the questionable pass interference review that continued Saskatchewan's drive that led them, like in the next play they scored the touchdown, to the Superman roughing the passer that wasn't called, to the low hit sack fumble that ended up getting reviewed after the referee called the game. Because that was the biggest problem, is that like the referee called the game before, so we were like, coaches were down on the sidelines, like all of Ottawa's coaches were down on the sideline, with the team when they got told that, like, hey, the game, like they're going back on the field. Dustin Crum was in the locker room when he had to be brought out to finish the game because they were told, oh yeah, you guys are going back out there, because they're calling roughing the passer. There was a booth review for roughing the passer. So that was like, it was, I don't even want to say it's like only the CFL, because like this just reminds me of the incident between Cleveland and Jacksonville in like 2001. But and then you had the thing on the field, which again just adds to more chaos through all of it. But yeah, I mean, the command center has been way too inconsistent. They need to figure something out. Like they have to. There's no more ifs, ands, or buts. They need no more gray area. No more, oh well, it could have been. It is or it isn't. Call it as it is. You have rules for a reason. They're no more ticky tacky, like, oh, we'll let it go this time because the receiver moved like a hair before. None of it. Like, just call it as penalties as is and get it over with.
Coach, I want to let you go, and then I have a question. So go ahead, Coach.
I ain't got nothing to say, man. We on to this week against Montreal. That shit hurts me.
We on to Cincinnati.
So
We on to
Shane.
Cincinnati.
So Shane, like, truthfully, how was that reviewed? That, like, the whole roughing the passer? Because my understanding of the rule is that it's only turnovers or potential turnovers that can be reviewed, which they were doing. It was a fumble that was reviewed, and then all of a sudden they come up for the booth and they're like, "Oh, just kidding! It was roughing passer. The game's gonna continue."
So, from my understanding of the situation, is that because they have to review it from the start of the play, this because to see where he lost, they determined that the hit that put him in a spot to lose the ball was an illegal hit. So everything after that contact doesn't happen. And that's from my understanding of why it was called, was that the play should have been blown dead because of that hit. Because he got hit at the ankles. The play should have been blown dead, or like there should have been a flag on the play anyways. So everything after that moment shouldn't have happened, like shouldn't have mattered. That's from kind of what we were told. Still kind of a Jackie situation because they were reviewing for a turnover, which it was. But because he got hit late, they determined that everything after that event doesn't matter because there should have been a flag on the play.
That's crazy to me. But to stay on Ottawa and news and notes here, you obviously Drew Brown didn't finish the game. Dustin Crum came in, and you have some news that Jeremiah Masoli will be the starter this week. What is your thoughts on that?
Yes, sir.
I'm not shocked. Crum still has to develop. He's in his second full year. He's shown promise. He's shown progress. Maybe some people think he should be progressing more than he has. That's a different conversation. But Mazzoli is tried and true in this offense. He went to a Grey Cup with it. He was up until his injury. He was MOP candidate in Hamilton with this offense. I'm not shocked that they're going to Mazzoli for this game. Like, they're going to go with Mazzoli until Drew Brown is back because he knows how to run this offense effectively. And I mean, at the end of the day, Crum's only 25. You're going to have time to develop him. It's not the end of the world that they're going to Mazzoli now. It would have been a bigger talking point if they bypassed Crum and put Mazzoli in last week when Drew Brown got hurt. And I was honestly kind of expecting them to put Mazzoli in to start the second half with the way Mazzoli was warming up. I was kind of expecting him to go in.
Interesting. So, there was a lot of QB news this week, boys. Trey Ford obviously got hurt as well. MBT went in, got a win for the Elks, but
Not credited
Bo-
with that win though.
yeah, I guess because Trey was the starter. Hey, well, still led them to a win, man. Bo Levi Mitchell is getting benched for Taylor Powell. Very shocking. Everyone, I feel like, is going to be on the same page with this, but I wanted to kind of get everyone's opinion because of I was very critical of Bully Mitchell coming into the year. I wasn't afraid to say that I thought he was kind of over the hill and past his prime, and he's definitely proven me wrong, and I feel like a lot of others playing really well this season. Now you could say putting up some numbers in a lot of losses and in games that our teams are pulling away, but I really feel like he kind of like the Ticats deserve probably another 2 or 3 wins, like based on how well Paul Levi Mitchell was playing and keeping him in a lot of these games. So pretty shocking to see him go to the bench like this. But Shane, what are your thoughts, bud?
I have no words. Honestly, like I don't know what Milanovic is thinking. Like Powell's a young, good quarterback. But outside of maybe the last 2 games, Bo Levi is not the reason you went 0-5. You talk about BC having a horrible defense where they've probably kept teams in it longer than they should have because of it. Hamilton's right there. They're not any better than BC's defense. And they've arguably been worse for more of the season than BC's had. I just, I don't know. I feel annoyed and kind of what are you doing? He's not the reason you guys are struggling. If Powell goes in there and they suck and they don't win a game and you have Bo Levi on the bench, there are going to be questions. I understand, unless you come out and say, hey, we're going to retool. We want Powell to get reps. He's going to be our starter for 2025. And they move on from Bo and they trade Bo out of Hamilton. There is no reason not to start Bo if you are losing with Powell. You just have to come out and say that, we're going to retool for 2025, move it, look at moving, Bo Levi into another situation, and call it a day. Because there's no reason to have Bo Levi on the bench when he's producing offensively, and the reason why the offense has looked as good as it has for the most part.
Coach?
The Dak Prescott, the Dak Prescott of the CFL gets benched. Let me stop. What do you want me to say, man? What do you want me to say? This team. Now, I will speak from reliable sources. Morale is still strong. You know what I'm saying? They still believe that the season isn't over. But I'm gonna say it from my point of view. Hell, let Edmonton get in the playoffs and play in the East for all I give a shit. If they can get their shit together, for all I care. This defense is not. Mark Washington don't know what the hell he's doing. That defensive coordinator, I don't know what the hell he's doing because they're trying to be aggressive, and it's biting them in the ass. They're not the same defense that I've seen the last couple years, where you play Hamilton, they're going to get some turnovers. They're going to go get some interceptions. They're going to force fumbles. Their tail's cut off. It's a wrap. Close up shop, fire Milanovic, get a real coach in there.
That was good. That was going to be one of my other questions to you guys, but I'll save it for a little bit later. Cole, do you want me to go with my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I'm with Shane and Coach. I don't understand this move at all. I don't even understand it when he did it in game. He did it after 2 series. Bo threw a pick in the first series, and then a bad snap that went over his head and ended up in a safety. And all of a sudden, Milanovic is like, "Nah, you done." And then the next day we go on Instagram and both like tweeting out a picture, putting in Instagram, whatever you want to call it, of his girl setting up a lemonade stand because he's like, well, we got to make money somehow when you lose your job. Like, it's just, I don't know. Hamilton is that they're by far the worst team in the CFL, and it's so. How do I word this? It's almost sad because like this is the one year where everyone always complains. We hear about it every year. An Eastern team has never crossed over to the Western Division. Blah blah blah. The crossover is only for Western teams. This is the perfect year for an Eastern team to try and cross over to the West. And with Hamilton being so shit, it's still not gonna happen.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna pose back to you guys as we kind of close up Hamilton talk is this the end of Bo Levi Mitchell? If
No.
Hamilton wants to go
No.
with Taylor Powell for the rest of the year, is he gonna find another spot next year?
If he
You think
wants
so,
it.
hey?
If he wants
Yeah.
it, 100%. But like, here's the thing: on defense, you lost Ted Laurent, you lost Simone Lawrence. Like, there's some key players on that defense, like leadership wise, that you lost. Dylan wins in Montreal. You let Jagari Davis go. Like, there's a lot of like that D line is relatively young, or that defense is relatively young and inexperienced. You didn't bring any leadership in, so like overall, this is a whole team issue. It's not just a Mark Washington issue. They gave him a very raw defense, and it just hasn't worked.
No.
It's true though.
No, because that's your job as a coach. I don't want to hear nothing about they lost Simone, they lost what's his face, they lost this guy. No, put your guys in position to make plays. That
Sure,
is
but some
your
of the guys just
job.
aren't good enough to do it.
But
Then they shouldn't have made
that's the
experienced
development. Develop your players.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Is that you
Develop
have to
your
mail it
players
in.
and make them better. That's
Let's
your
just say
job
mail
as a
it in.
defensive coordinator.
Yeah, mail it in and just say that, hey, we're going to focus on 2025. Because like, you look at that roster and
This makes me mad.
You fully know that team is not good enough to win this year. They don't
Right.
have the experience. They don't have the knowledge of that defense, like of how to play a CFL defense. So just mail it in, say, hey, we're going to go just like Edmonton did on defense, where they were like, I'll give Chris Jones credit. He was honest about going young on defense, that they weren't going to go veteran heavy. They were going to bring in a lot of new, younger talent, and that there was going to be a couple of like growing pains with that. Hamilton should 100% do the same thing, especially if they're going to run Powell. If they're going to be like, hey, this is a development year. We have a lot of, first year guys that were, they're still trying to catch up to CFL speed. They're, 23, 24, 25-year-olds, whatever. Just come out and say it and be honest with it. Don't try to front as you're going to be some competitive, like, we're going to push for a Grey Cup this year, and put out a defense and a team that just on paper isn't up to the standards or up to the billing of like Ottawa or Toronto or Montreal, and like try to front it as something else other than what it is. Like, just be honest. Just be like, hey, we're gonna plan for 2025.
Okay, let me ask you this. What the hell is the standard? What the hell is the standard for
this year or next year?
We're talking about right now. Let's
Okay.
take next year out the picture.
Okay.
What is the standard for this Hamilton defense? I'm not talking about years past. What is the standard of the Hamilton defense? Go get it. Find ball, see ball, get ball. For some reason, I don't know, I do hold the players accountable, but it's also in the development. I can't stand bad defensive play. When I know that the defense is they have moments. But they ain't put a full game together. I think maybe one game they put it together, and that was one of their wins. That was it. But that was so long ago, don't nobody care. What is our standard on defense, and what are we building off of? Week by week. They ain't even done that, and that's been their bread and butter forever. So are they going to make a new standard, or are they going to stick with the same old tired ass standard that ain't won them shit? That's just me. That's just how I see it.
No, I get that, and maybe the standard should change. Maybe the standard should be go get the quarterback. Don't worry about the ball. Go get the quarterback.
Are we gonna be a 2-and-out defense? Are we bend don't break? Are we gonna be aggressive? Are we gonna stay zone? Are we gonna be man? Are we gonna be pattern? What are we? I don't think they know what their defensive identity is. But I agree with you, Shane. I agree with you. They're young, but we can't make excuses.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think they should just come out and just be honest with what the direction of the team is going.
Right.
Because like if they come out and say, hey, we have a lot of young, inexperienced, like we have a lot of young talent, we're going to develop them and be a competitive, Grey Cup contending team for 2025. The rest of the year, there's an expectation of growth and improvement, and like the expectation is different, right? Just come out and be honest with what you're planning for, versus trying to trot out a team that's going to win the next like 8 of the 9 games and try to salvage a season,
right?
When we all know you're not going to do it. Like,
you ain't built
fans
like that.
Fans aren't stupid. If you are honest with them, you're going to have a better turnout and better fan interactions than trying to treat them like they're idiots and try to put out a winning product when we all know it's not there.
Right.
So like you can fire Mark Washington, you can fire Scott Milanovich. I mean, I don't think Milanovich is that great of a coach, so like I wouldn't be upset. But I don't think firing the coach changes the direction that this team needs to go, and that is just plan for 2025. Get your young guys as many reps as possible. Get Powell as many reps as possible. And honestly, maybe look at moving out some of your top dollar players if that's the direction you're going.
Right.
Like, maybe you look at moving on from Butler and White just because teams are going to be interested in them. And you don't have to spend almost $500,000 on 2 players if you don't know if they're going to want to play on like a middle of the pack team.
Can we all agree that they're wasting James Butler's prime?
Yeah,
100%. Which is why you I think out of respect, you try to talk to him and be like, hey, this is our plan. Do you want to be part of it or do you want to move on? We can move on from it, right? Like I think there needs to be a very like respectable approach to the veterans on the team, because you can't just get rid of all your veterans for the most part, but like your high-paying veterans, I think you need to give them some sort of option of like, hey, this is what we're doing. Do you want to be on board? Do you want to be part of it? Or do you want to go to another team, try winning a Grey Cup this year and be on a Grey Cup contender next year? Because, we don't want to waste. We're trying to be respectful to you as what you've done in this league and for the team.
Right.
Yeah, no, well said, Shane. Really well said. So let's kind of end news and notes there, boys. Lots to talk about this week, but let's get into week number 11 already, fellas. So we will, I guess, start this now. Let's do this at the front and recap last week's action/record. Was all right week for the boys. Some ups, some downs. I'll start with mine first. I went 3-1, bringing my season total to 23-17.
No. You went 2-1-1.
Yes, I guess yes, you are correct. Actually, I went 2-1-1. So I guess actually these are going to be one less than what I'm saying here. So I went 3. So we're gonna, I guess, count ties. Like, are we gonna count ties on our record, or is that just a loss?
No, let's just count
ties. Loss, right?
No, that's not a loss. You didn't lose.
Nobody
just tied.
It's a tie. It counts as a tie. Tie is a tie. Don't try to make the NHL where you add this loser point in. A tie is a tie. Treat it as a tie. If we tie, you're 31-5-1. Like a tie is a tie. You treat it as a tie.
Okay.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Okay. So I went 2-2 then. Shane went.
You went 2-1-1.
1. That's what you went.
2-1-1. Sorry.
2-1-1.
2-1-1. Shane went 2-1-1 as well. Blake went 2-1-1 as well. And Coach went 3-1.
Fuck all y'all.
So that brings my total to 22, 17, and 1. That brings Shane's total to 18, 19, and 1. That brings Blake's total to 25, 14, and 1. And that brings Coach's record to a grand total of 1, 10, and 1.
Don't worry, we late
So,
bloomers. Don't worry, we late
so
bloomers.
Blake still is in the lead, and we will tally our fours later on. So let's get into this week's action, which kicks off with Ottawa going to Calgary. Now, this is a difficult game. I'm going to let you guys go first before I pick, because I know Coach doesn't like to,
He doesn't like
pay
to
attention to this.
disrespect our cousin.
No, not even that. But Calgary being undefeated at home, man, they're a different team at home for some reason.
No, Coach said
Ottawa's
that
obviously
doesn't matter.
No, Coach said that didn't matter. I didn't say that did not matter. I think that kind of matters a little bit. But Ottawa is obviously it's Jeremiah Masoli, who is a veteran in the league. He's played with Ottawa, but he hasn't played in very long time. So I would think there's going to be a little bit of rust. They're without Khalil Pimpleton. Am I not? I'm right on that one, right? Got placed on the 6-game injured list. Yeah, 6-game injured list. So number one threat's gone. Quarterback is, I would think, even if he has a good game, it's going to take him a few series, if not maybe a quarter, to kind of get his rhythm going. Tough way to go kind of on this, because I really don't like Calgary either. So I'm going to let Blake go first. And Blake, who you picking and why?
Oh, man. Okay. So I know I said the home and the away record matters. It does. For all I know, I'm going to get screwed making this pick. Calgary's going to go 9-0 at home, and they're going to go 0-9 on the road, and they're going to finish 9-9. However, even with the injuries to Ottawa, with everything that happened last week, Coach and Shane, what was the score? And I know it was in Ottawa. What was the score when these two teams played 3 weeks ago or whatever it was?
33-6 for Ottawa.
For Ottawa.
Mayor
right.
had 136 passing yards.
Right. So, the fact that they're at McMahon Stadium is not going to make that much of a difference. It's going to be a closer game. But for the first time this season, the Calgary Stampeders are going to lose at home, and the Ottawa Red Blacks are going to improve to 6-2-1.
Coach, who you picking and why?
I'm going last.
All right, Shane, who you picking and why?
I mean, I'm going Ottawa. I mean, to be fair, Calgary hasn't lost 2 in a row since the beginning of the year when they lost back-to-back in like week 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. I think it was against Montreal and then Winnipeg. But man, that offense just looks bad. Like Mara put up like 371 yards, and but the offense just looked bad. But they just never looked in sync. Like they never looked like in rhythm. Ottawa's getting Brandon Dandridge back, who is a ball hawk and arguably one of the top playmaker defensive backs in the CFL. So that's going to be huge. Ottawa's finally fully healthy across the board for the most part. Obviously, there's some added injuries there with Pimpleton and Brown. But overall, this is arguably a better team than the one they faced in Ottawa. And I don't know, I feel like it's going to be another bad night for Mayor. And honestly, I think the only reason why Mayor keeps starting is because Matthew Schultz is still hurt. But I don't know. I'm leaving it at that. I think Ottawa there's too many issues in Calgary for me to think this is going to be a close game.
Too many issues. I feel like it's just one.
No, because there's others. Their D line hasn't been great. Their O line's been really good. I'll give them credit. Their O line has been really good. From what we saw last year to this year, there's definitely been improvements, but there are injuries to that O line. So who knows how it holds up this year or this week. But compared to 2 years from last year to this year, their O line is dramatically better. So I'll give them credit to that. Mills is in or if Payton's in, I can't remember. Their running backs are good. Like they have weapons, but and I mean it's not just Mayer. Like the receivers look like they're running the wrong route sometimes. So it looks like some receivers kind of just stop running halfway through their route if they don't think they're getting the ball. Like there's a lot, and like on the defensive side of the ball, like they're not getting after the quarterback. Their linebackers are good, but they're stagnant. It looks like they get caught like ball watching a little bit too much. And the only good defensive back on that team is Houston. Like I think like overall there's a problem in Calgary. And unfortunately, Jake Mayer is just the vocal point of it because the offense has struggled so much that he gets added to it because he's the quarterback. It's the unfortunate side of being the quarterback. You get blamed for everything, but there's multiple problems in Calgary. I know Coach doesn't like that, but like it's true.
Coach, just tell me you're taking Calgary and we can pick together.
I come from a long line of black people. I'm not gonna let y'all keep disrespecting my favorite cousin like that, man. I need Jake. If you hear this, cuz fam,
he is listening, guys.
Cuz I need you to hear me. I just need 300 out of you. I need 300. I need 3 tubs, and we good to go. Feed Diedrich the ball. Trey Roberson is killing me, and I love Trey. But Trey he has his back to the ball so damn much, and he's getting caught looking in the backfield. The linebackers are just on their heels. I need something. Cuz step up and make something happen for me, man. Although I will say I have one thing for Ottawa, and all jokes aside, offensive line, please protect Jeremiah Masoli.
Yes.
I'm being dead ass serious right now. Like that dude has been through so much already. Please protect your quarterback. But other than that, going with my cousin, man. We rolling.
So Cole, are you gonna go with the Stampeders too? Tell me
more.
more.
That honestly didn't help me much because I see Coach is desperate. He's desperate. He's begging.
Hold on. Whoa. I ain't desperate. I ain't desperate now. Only time 30 years I ain't never been desperate.
Please, I hope he's watching.
I need Coach credit. His loyalty, unmatched. Can't even question his loyalty. He's even in the face of numbers and stats. He is still blindly following Jake Mayer.
I don't give a damn. I don't care.
I will 100%. Your loyalty is unmatched.
If you okay, look. You feed Diedrich or Peyton. You feed Diedrich the ball 20 times. You get Peyton about 10 touches. That cuts down the chances of him having to throw the ball. I just need about an efficient, proficient, non-malicious game from my cuz. That's all I need, man. He don't even need to throw 40, 50 times, just 20.
He threw 27 the last time they played Ottawa.
Shut the fuck up, Shane. Anyway.
Cole, make your pick. Hurry up.
Hurry up, Cole.
Whoa, I'm not even talking here, all right? Easy. I'm gonna go Ottawa, okay? After all this talk. I'm gonna go Ottawa. Hey, I was high on them last week. I can't go back on my word. I talked about them being, up there in terms of the contender, status. Obviously, different quarterback. But if Shane's talking right, he says that there should be a better team than when they faced a few weeks ago with Masoli. Now, whether that's true or not, time will tell. Yeah. I'm pretty high on, like I said, their running back's been, efficient this year, and then the receivers are up there in terms of being one of the better groups in the league. So I can't trust Jake Mayer. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna go Ottawa, and we'll move on. Coach, don't hate us for it.
Next.
Hopefully, Armstead doesn't get kicked out halfway through the game, and you don't have to run your offense without a running back for a true running back for 2.5 quarters of football. So
wait.
That'll help.
Can I say something about that? I'll make it very quick. But I had a terrible week in CFL fantasy last week. By my standards, I got 70 points, and somehow in our Fans Fight Cancer League, I still moved up 3 spots overall.
Tough.
Good for
Tough. So
you.
let's get to Friday night's action, which is the Montreal Alouettes traveling to Saskatchewan in a game of a ton of storylines. Trevor Harris coming back, AJ Ouellette, Jameer Thurman as well for the Riders. There's a possibility of Trevor Harris coming back.
No, no,
I
no.
don't know. I know
Harris.
it was reported that, or sorry, Cody Fajardo. I know it was reported or whatever that he could. It's more likely he's going to play next week for Montreal, but a possibility still. You never know. I believe he's eligible, right? He's off the 6 games, so he can play
He's
for
been
them. But
off.
yeah, so curious to see what happens if Cody going back to face his old team. I know it's already happened, I believe, last year, but
No, it
still a ton of
hasn't.
story. It hasn't.
He's
Wow.
been
No,
So
I think
injured.
Saskatchewan came to Montreal last year, I believe.
And he was injured when they played in Montreal. He
yeah, so
hasn't played the Riders yet.
a ton of storylines. I'm gonna go first. I would love to know if Cody Fajardo's not playing, but I'm gonna say, and I guess Shane. Actually, no. Blake changed his picks last week, so I'm gonna say if Cody
You know what?
Fajardo is,
That karma for you for changing your pick. I'm just
it
saying it.
is. So I'm gonna say I'm taking Saskatchewan unless Cody Fajardo is playing. I think the additions of, like I mentioned, Trevor Harris, AJ Ouellette, and Jameer Thurman are going to be even better for Saskatchewan. They've been in a slump, and I feel like this is their time to kind of right their wrongs and start to go on their run in the back half of the season. So I'm going to go Saskatchewan. Shane, who do you got?
I'm taking Montreal. I don't care who's behind center. If it's Alexander or Fajardo, I think overall this is like you're 8-1. It's kind of hard to go against a team that's 8-1. Obviously Trevor Harris coming back, AJ Ouellette coming back, Thurman coming back. Like there's some boosts there, but I can't go against the 8-1 team right now. And even with the injuries from Montreal, I still think they're the best. Like they're the best team in the league. I'm gonna go with them until they start to prove me wrong.
I know I said that too, but I guess I just kind of contradict myself. Blake, who do you got?
I'm gonna go with the Riders in this one. I think it is the Riders' time to, as you said, Cole, to kind of turn it around. The Alouettes have been dealing with injury issues. I haven't heard a lot, but I don't believe Fajardo is going to be playing this game. I believe it'll be Davis Alexander again. I know that Tyson Philpott left last Saturday's game, much to my chagrin. He did not practice on Monday. I have not seen yesterday or today's injury report for the Alouettes, but I don't believe he will be playing. Trevor Harris is returning. AJ Ouellette's returning. And when these two teams faced off 2 weeks ago, the Riders had the Alouettes on the ropes before Davis Alexander came into the game and then turned that game around for the Alouettes. I don't think the Riders are going to let that happen twice. They're going to be ready for Alexander this time around. And this is kind of foreshadowing, but the Riders are going to stay in first place in the West.
So I just want to jump in real quick. I have the injury reports up. Fajardo is available, and Alexander's available. So won't know till tomorrow when they release the depth charts if he's going to play or if he's going to dress. But according to the injury reports, he is available if they decide to go that route.
So I'm TBD, by the way. If Cody Fajardo's playing, I'm changing my pick. Just a heads up. Blake already did last week. There's no.
I'm not
getting
changing my pick at all.
I'm not getting flack for it. So, Coach, who do you got and why?
I'm going to go with the Riders. I think this is the time where we match up well against them. This is a matchup where, yes, we had them on the ropes. Now we got the sauce to do what we need to do. One thing I noticed about Davis Alexander is that he only steps up and he only runs when he can climb the ladder and step up in the pocket. We going to fly around. We're going to fly around like some crazy dogs and do what we need to do as a defense. Offensively, if Trevor's starting, it's going to be an aerial assault. There's the injuries that are hitting Montreal right now. We can hit that secondary easily. We match up so damn well. It's not going to be a Charleston Rambo 3-touchdown game, Reggie White Jr., Tyson Philpott showing out. Nope. Nope. I'm riding with the Riders.
All right, well said. Let's go to Saturday's action. Edmonton and Hamilton. One of these two teams are going to get a win, get their third victory of the year. I'm going to go with Edmonton, personally. I think they're going to kind of ride a little bit more of the high than Hamilton has of recently. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Blake, who do you got and why?
I'm gonna go with Edmonton. I don't really care who's starting behind center for the Elks. I think they're a better team. Yeah, maybe they'll shove that in my face. I know Hamilton destroyed them until Trey Ford came into the game a couple weeks ago. But I just think there's too much stuff that has the Elks flying high. The Elks are going to win the football game. They're going to win 3-0. They're going to win 3 in a row, pardon me. And if my other picks for the week stand true, by the end of the week, they're only going to be a game out of a playoff spot.
Dane, who do you got and why?
Man, this is a toss-up. I gotta go Edmonton. I'm gonna go Edmonton. I think there's too much turmoil going on in that locker room in Hamilton. Even though spirits may be high, as Coach mentioned, there's going to be some doubt on that offense. If Powell can't get it going early, there's going to be that like looking over the shoulder to see what's going on with Bo. And I mean, I think McCall Bethel Thompson is also in a situation where like he wants to go out and win and ball out and show that he can win in this league still and be a starter. Like he's not just auditioning, like he's auditioning for next year. He's trying to show teams that like, yeah, I'm got bench for Trey Ford, but I'm not the reason we started 0-5. Like I can win games. I'm still a quality starter. I'm still worth, I'm still worth a roster spot. I'm still worth the money. I'm still worth being in the league. So I think he goes out and balls this week, and Edmonton gets their win. And I think, like Blake said, he'll fall. Like Edmonton will be like a game behind for a playoff spot heading into next week.
Coach?
I'm gonna go with the Edmonton Elks, whatever the hell they want to call themselves now this week. I don't fucking know what they want to call themselves. God damn it! But I think
Eskimos.
You said it. I didn't. No, I think this is going to be a good one right here. Edmonton can't play to Hamilton's level. They can't stoop down that low. Whoever's starting at quarterback, it's an easy dub right here for them. It's an easy dub. And to me personally, I think that Edmonton has either the best or the second best linebacking core in the CFL right now. They're young, they're fucking hungry, and them motherfuckers just be flying. Nick Anderson, Niles Morgan, Moncrief's out there too. Defense is looking pretty solid right now, so I'm gonna go with them.
Clean sweep for the Elks. What has happened? I feel like this would be unheard of maybe a few weeks ago, but they've been playing good all year. They just been on the wrong end of some games, and maybe this is the time to get back into the West hunt for the playoffs here down the stretch, which would be crazy to think after their start. So let's get to Sunday, which is actually kind of a bummer, boys, because I believe this is the last few weeks of Thursday Sunday games. I'm not correct, right? Is it next week?
Next week. Next week.
It's the
no, that's
the
what I was saying. The
third.
last few weeks. The 3rd of September?
Yeah, it's the first Saturday in September. I don't think they play on the 4th. I have the schedule up.
So I guess Labor Day would probably be the last Sunday or Sunday game.
Oh yeah.
Like the first is the last Sunday game, and then the 7th is the first afternoon Saturday game on CTV.
Cool. So honestly, I like the games every day. It's kind of cool to have a game on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I know there is NFL, so there's going to be football on, but just being a CFL fan, being a CFL show, I enjoyed the 4 days a week of CFL football. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope that continues for the rest of however long they continue to do the games until the NFL season kicks off and stuff like that. So the last game of the week here in Week 11 is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers traveling to BC in a big-time matchup. I picked against BC last week. I'm going to say it. I'm picking BC this week, obviously, but I'm curious to hear, what you guys have to think, because I know Winnipeg is starting to come on now. They're starting to feel their groove. They're getting a big addition. I know Blake doesn't want to hear that, especially right now, but Kenny Lawler's coming back. A guy that I mentioned last week I think a guy that's probably one of the best receivers in the CFL. Going to be a huge addition for them now. I'm interested to see. I feel like BC is going to be a very motivated team after what just happened to them versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, right? So, big implications for both sides in terms of Winnipeg trying to fight back in, BC trying to get another win. 5-4. If they fall to 5-5, things could start to get away from them before too quickly, and before the doubleheader with Ottawa here, it was going to be a tough test back to back, right? We have to go there first, so I feel like this is a game that BC has to win. They're going to play like the more desperate team, but I'm hoping I'm not proven wrong. Winnipeg doesn't walk away with the win. But Blake, who do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'm
Don't
gonna
say it.
take. I'm gonna take the Lions in this one. The more and more I think about it, um, everything's going the Lions' way, and I know that hasn't been the case for the last few weeks, but the return of Nathan Rourke, especially even more so after practice today, it looks like he's gonna start. And the more and more I thought about that game 2 weeks ago, it wasn't the Bombers as a team that beat and yeah, you guys might want to correct me. The defense is part of the team. You're 100% correct on that. But it wasn't the Bombers as a team that beat the Lions. It was Sergio Castillo and it was the Bombers defense.
Yeah, I mean, Castillo went like 6 for 6 that game.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like when they beat Ottawa. They beat Ottawa earlier in the year. Castillo went 6 for 6. Ottawa gave up one touchdown against, and Castillo had the rest of the points.
Yeah, Lawler's coming back. Like, I know that. Whatever. Big whoop. They're still missing Schoen. They're still missing Wolotarski. Like, they're not a good team. If the Lions stop Brady Oliveira, Zach Claros can't throw touchdown passes. I will remind you guys, 4 touchdown passes in 9 games this year. The Lions, they're going to keep pace with the Riders. They're going to win the football game.
Dane, who do you got?
I think this is going to be a close one. I do have BC winning. I think they're going to take advantage of Nathan Rourke coming back. Like that energy, that hype, all of that excitement, I think will be funneled into a win. But I don't think it's going to be easy. As of right now, I mean, obviously things can change between now and Sunday. But like Gary Peters and Pete Robertson are both questionable. Right? They didn't participate today in practice. So like, obviously there's 2 more days of practice. See what happens tomorrow and Friday. But you Hadlick is out. Like I think it's already been ruled out that he's not participating. Losing both Robertson and Peters. Peters would probably line up over Kenny Lawler. Like that's your matchup right there. You have to put someone else over him. It's not necessarily the best for you. Now, obviously, Winnipeg would still need to produce and, convert. But I think it's going to be a lot closer game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's probably going to be within like 3 to 6 points. But I have BC taking the momentum, taking the high, bringing work back, and hopefully a good crowd, and riding it to a win and getting back, getting up to 6-4.
All right. It's going to come down to who has the second to last possession. It's going to be
very specific. I love it, Coach.
Because for some damn reason, I just have this feeling that whoever has that second to last possession is going to take it down to about 1:20, and it's going to be who can get that last one. That's it. But I'm going to go with, since I'm going to be in the building, I'm going to go with BC.
Wait a second. Is it only because you're going to be in the building?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Shut up, Blake. Shut the hell up. Because I want to get mad.
Who cares?
I don't give a damn. I'm gonna pick who I want to pick. I think I'm gonna go if it comes down to it, I'm gonna go with BC on this one. Only not because I'm being in the building, but just because if Gary plays, Gary can shut down Kenny. You mentioned that they don't have Blake. You mentioned they don't have Schoen, they don't have Wolotarski. Kenny is more than enough to win a game.
Yeah, I agree.
Him and the new guy, Pookie.
Ontario Wilson.
Yeah. That's scary. And whoever's on the other side.
I know Nick Dempsey's having a tough season, but Nick Dempsey's still a guy too.
He sucks.
He fumbles.
Nick Dempsey can't hold on to the ball.
Every time he
runs with it, he fumbles. Like If I'm
Not every
Columbus,
time,
I'm gonna throw it away and just throwing
just
it
in
to
big
him.
moments.
But here's
No,
the other
in the
thing.
last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, he just
Right,
forgets
right.
how to hold on to the ball.
But offensively though, simplify the game for Nathan Rourke. Ease him into it. Don't try to do too much. Let him and give the ball to William. Let William attack them in between them tackles. Let William just run the ball, man. It's good to go. So I think it's gonna be a very close one. BC for the win.
Yeah, I love it. So clean sweep for BC, clean sweep for Edmonton. That'll about do it there, boys. Another week. I'm excited to see this week's matchups, man. I think this is where we get until, Labor Day. Things start to, the season doesn't matter till Labor Day, everyone likes to say, right? And now things are going to, looking at the West standings, man, I was a little nervous. This is kind of, not up or shut up time for BC. And, like I mentioned, if they drop to 5-5, teams below them are going to start to catch up. And I think Saskatchewan's going to start to, make their mark and maybe start to pull away. So I'm interested in this is the first week I actually have had off in a while. So I'm interested to kind of sit back, be able to watch all 4 games this weekend and enjoy. Hopefully BC is able to finish it off with a win. So I'll let the boys get out of here, but any final thoughts? What can the people look forward to from you this weekend, Shane?
I was going to say the next 2 weeks we're going against each other, just back to back against BC. Putting out there right now. I hope BC loses the next 2 weeks.
Is that are we friends
that works
off?
in our favor?
What?
Are we friends off the next 2 weeks or?
I mean, I'm fine with being friends. I'm just letting you know that, like, when it comes to next week's episode, the next 2 week episodes, I'm gonna be crapping on the Lions.
Oh, so you're gonna be hostile like coach. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Some friendly wagers. Maybe we put something on the table for you guys changing like your Twitter picks to Red Blacks or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So just to get some banner. Hopefully, are you guys going to the Touchdown Pacific?
Touchdown.
I'll be at both games, Shane.
Hey.
Oh, you're gonna be in Ottawa?
I am. Yep.
Well, then I'll see you on the 24th because I'll be there. So we'll have to meet up. Sweet. But no, I mean overall, obviously CFL stuff. I know you guys are doing your BCFC, or at least I know Cole is doing BCFC. The OFC starts on Sunday or on Saturday.
I saw you did some stuff.
The PFC started last weekend.
Yeah, the PFC started this past weekend. So if anyone cares, the NFC in Ontario, the Northern Football Conference, which is like the senior semi-pro league, the Sooners are playing the GTA All-Stars for the championship. The winner goes on to the Nationals, which I think plays the Alberta League. Yeah. So a lot of football going on in Ottawa. Like U Sports have started back up. There's a lot of football going on with Ottawa. Amateur starting up. CGFL. So I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna be posting quite a bit of football around Ottawa, and then obviously there's some NFL stuff coming out the next couple of weeks as the season gets rolling.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane. All Shane's social medias are linked below, the 13th Man Sports as well. And I believe actually we had a few.
Wait. Before Shane gets out of here, I have one thing to say on air to Shane. For anyone that hasn't seen yet, a couple weeks ago, probably about a month, Shane had Cole and I write some little bios for ourselves, send some pictures in. The pictures are not yet up, but the bios are up. So if you go to the Canadian Football Fanatics page, or 13th Man Sports, sorry, I'll get it right. The 13th Man website, and then search Canadian Football Fanatics. You can look up myself and Cole. Shane did an amazing job with that, so thank you for that, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, if you do go there, you can also watch. It's connected straight to your YouTube. All their latest live streams will be up. So if you ever missed an episode and you're on the website and you want to check out what they're doing, you can head there. So yeah, their latest live show is posted. Good to go, and then have a couple of other things posted still in the beginning stages, but overall, yeah, you'll be able to find all their stuff there. And hopefully all their other projects as things grow will be available on the website, easy to access in all one area.
Awesome. And as well, like I was saying, we actually had a few viewers on the 13th Man Sports Facebook page here tonight. I believe one of them left a like, which is awesome. And it's cool that we're able to stream on Facebook, another platform as well. So the 13th Man Sports, you guys can find us streaming on there on the Facebook page as well. So Shane, thank you so much, buddy. Like I said, you guys can find all the social medias in the link in the description. So later, Shane. Enjoy the weekend, buddy.
All right.
All right, Coach. What can we expect from you this weekend? I was just about to watch your top 50 plays of all time. But is there anything else the people that can expect other than seeing you at BC Place on Sunday?
Well, other than doing my regular digger schmegler, I have a big announcement coming Labor Day weekend. That in itself is groundbreaking for me, and I ain't gonna spill the beans. Y'all know, but it's gonna be fun to announce that, and we just gonna keep rocking and rolling, doing what we do. Getting ready for season 2 of Deep in the Game. I got some big hitters coming on the show, and yeah, I'm getting ready for Sunday. Y'all gonna be there?
I'm gonna be there. Yep.
I don't believe I am, Coach.
Well, of course it's Blake.
I wish I could. You never know. I might be able to surprise something last minute, but as of now, I believe I am not. I have to say, unfortunately, Coach, this is not my doing. I would love to be there, but just have some other things I guess I got to take care of. Unfortunately.
Hey, I feel it, man. But that's just what's going on, man. We're getting ready for season 2 of Deep in the Game. We're gonna take it to another level. I got some, like I said, I got some big hitters coming on the show for this one, and
the top 50. I was about to get into. I was excited about that. It looked cool.
There's some
fun
plays
as well.
on there. There's some plays on there that I was super shocked about. Like, how the hell? Where were all these one-handed catches in the NFL? They ain't had it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's so many one-handed catches. I was offended.
What about the SJ? I know you said you didn't want to spoil it, but what about the SJ catch 2010?
I've seen that so many times, and I still get goosebumps. How the hell did he catch Brian Burnham? Brian Burnham?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's on there so many times. I didn't realize how much of a dog he was.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some defensive stuff on there. So y'all gonna check it out. Got a new one up. Do my reactions this weekend, and then we're gonna be in BC Place having a good time.
Awesome.
Are you
Coach.
vlogging the whole trip?
I'm gonna be doing some interviews post game.
Nice.
Awesome, Coach. Thanks, and we'll see you next week, Coach. So, like I was mentioning, you guys can find all Coach's social media and stuff in the link in the description. So, talk to you next week, Coach.
All right, see you, brother. See you, Coach.
All right, that was Coach. That was Shane. That was almost another week in the Canadian Football Fanatics weekly show. Blake, before we get out of here, buddy, let's do
more segment. Yeah,
our BCFC picks. I guess we gotta kind of add a banner for that. Hey, should we?
We do. This is riveting live television on air.
What week is it? Number 4? Number 5?
What are we? 5. Raiders are 1 week 5.
Boom! Just like that. BCFC week number 5 picks, ladies and gentlemen. Back at it again. I can't believe it's week 5 already. That's crazy to me, man. This is absurd. U Sports is coming, like I said. We're in the early stages of getting all of our
pumping out all those podcasts.
Yep. Those are going to be fun. I can't wait to release those. So let's get into it. Unfortunately, my VI Raiders are on a bye this week, so I can't pick them or talk about their game. So let's start with the first game of the week, which is the West Shore Rebels traveling to the Valley Huskers. I think we're going to probably go with the same team here, but I'm going to go West Shore Rebels. I've liked what I've seen from them the first few weeks. And Valley's kind of been a little bit disappointing. I expect a little bit more from Valley, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with West Shore this week, even though it is in Valley. So, Blake, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the West Shore Rebels as well. Myself and Wizard, one of our loyal listeners, one of our friends of the shows, we debated about that quite heavily. I called out the Valley Huskers quite blatantly last week, and then they responded by turning around and basically slapping me in the face and beating the Kodiaks by 20 points. I don't really know if that shows me that the Huskers are better than I thought, or maybe the Kodiaks aren't as good as I thought. But I still, like, even with that performance, I don't have any faith in the Valley West Huskers. And plain and simply, I think that the West Shore Rebels are a better team.
Absolutely. Well said. So let's get to the next game, which is, I think, going to be Yeah, we're both going to pick the same, but Langley traveling up to Kamloops, long travel day, but I'm going to go with Langley. I would imagine you are as well.
Yeah.
Seeing Langley up close and personal for the first time, hadn't been able to watch much of them up until last week. Got a good look at them, and I think they're a good team. They're going to be in contention up there with Okie, I think, as maybe that other team. I would like to see West Shore, and when I do, I'll be able to have a better opinion on who's going to be able to rival Okie this year, or who I think is going to maybe rival Okie up the top. But I like Langley's game. I like their running back, Bruce Jones, I believe it is a
Yep.
nice back, and they have some weapons. And they were without their best weapon in Terrell Jones. I believe got actually a
Were.
team suspension, or maybe it's a league suspension. I don't officially know. So was it without him, which is a big, big time weapon for them that they were missing. And defensively, they did a good job to slow down, Sadler Smith, best quarterback in the conference, leading the conference in passing yards, passing touchdowns. Ruben Bonzu was not supposed to play last week and was like a game time decision that he was going to dress. He ended up going, held him to pretty, decent numbers, but I would question whether or not Ruben was 100%. And Paul was basically, kept quiet as well. I really like especially at linebacker, I believe it's Howard and I forget their other linebacker, Sean Cullen, I believe it is, are
Yep.
two pretty good linebackers. They for the majority of the game were just rushing three guys and getting some pressure. So to be able to rush three guys, and obviously in the Canadian game, like being able to drop nine guys into coverage, you're going to have a lot of success if you're getting home with three guys and dropping nine guys in the coverage. There's not a lot of room to go for the quarterback. And if you look at it, five receivers, you can basically put two guys on each receiver essentially with nine defenders, right? And maybe you can put that single team, that man-on-man coverage on a weaker receiver, right? Not that teams are going to do that, but that's essentially how a zone is going to turn out, right? You're going to run into a defender zone. He's going to pick you up along with the other underneath defender. So having that many guys in there is just going to be able to make it difficult, and they did on the VI Raiders. So Blake, obviously you're going to go with Langley as well. Is there anything?
I am.
Were you able to watch the game last week at all?
I watched bits and pieces. I was out. I know our man, the Langley Rams mob squad, was live Instagramming there for a little bit, so I was able to catch a bit of the game. It kind of went exactly how I said it would go, Cole. Like I know one of our other friends, Hakeem, said he kind of expected a blowout. I never thought it was going to go that way, especially with the amount that I've been able to see the VI Raiders. They're a competitive team. They're like maybe this year isn't playoffs, especially with the way the first 4 weeks have kind of turned out. You have like the top four teams really at this point in Valley, Langley, West Shore, and Okie. And then you have kind of the other three. But out of those other three, I think VI is the best team. I think it was a close game, which I expected. And I think Kamloops is the worst team in the BCFC this year. So I do not expect a close game this week.
Yeah, well said. So last game of the week is Prince George traveling to the Okanagan Sun. Another game of almost somewhat of David Goliath, if that's what you want to call it.
Yep.
A weaker team in the league versus the best team in the league. That Langley Kamloops matchup is the 2 versus 7. You could call this basically the 1 versus 6. So I'm going to go with Okie. I would imagine you are as well. They have the best running back in the league in I don't know how to pronounce his first name, and I don't know what it is, but his last
Oh
name's Noah,
gosh.
and he's been having a hell of a year. But best back in the arguably the CJFL, and I think he's going to be able to have a heyday on that PG defense. And PG's kind of fallen off after that week 1 victory against VI, and I think Okanagan will roll. So you got Okie as well.
Yeah, I do. I think I mentioned it a second ago, but I'm not really sure if that Valley game was them proving that they're better than I thought, or Prince George maybe not performing to their ability, because Valley was able to hang 48 on them, I believe it was. 48-28 was the final, something like that, Cole. And Valley
Yeah.
did that with their backup quarterback. So I just, that defense especially, I think I don't have a lot of faith in Prince George. And I think it's going to be at least 2 out of 3 that are going to be blowouts this weekend.
Yeah, interested to see, and stay tuned. Obviously, I'll have my picks on Wizard Takes weekly post. Unfortunately, I dropped my record. I believe I'll be 10-3 now. I've been, or
You've been in
no, 10
first for a
and
while.
yeah, no, I'm still first. 10-2. I will be actually after this week. I was 8-1, 2 victories last week, and then the one Raiders. I picked the Raiders to win. and they came up a little bit short. And my 2 losses are for the picking the Raiders, and arguably both times they could have won. I sent you some picks, but that's what it could have, should have. Ultimately, they didn't do enough to win the game, and at the end of the day, that stuff happens. We were just talking about it with the situations in the CFL command center. So do a little bit more and win the game without having to.
That's a story we don't want to get into. Cold
Yeah,
BCFC refs.
exactly. Do more and don't have to leave it up to the refs, and you wouldn't have to hang your hat on that. I just realized that it says week 10 in the CFL in our little banner there. I don't know
I
why.
noticed that way earlier in the show. I was
Did
like,
you?
yeah, I did. I didn't want to say anything.
I know it's the end of the show, but boom,
Whatever.
there we go. Week 11 in the CFL, ladies and gentlemen. That's so funny because I edited it too, which is funny, and I don't know why I missed that, but we're getting tired here, folks. This is the end of the
We are.
show. That's the BCFC, our BCFC picks this week. Like I mentioned, stay tuned for the Wizard Takes post on Instagram. That'll be Friday morning. You can have me, Langley Mob Squad's picks, Peak Photography, and the Wizard Takes. I know Wizard Takes is that.
Very quickly, Cole. I know
Yep.
we're based in BC and we've been doing the BCFC picks this year. Did you see that Saskatoon Hilltops game last weekend? I know they ended up winning by a considerable margin, but at halftime they were only up like 5-3 or 8-3. They weren't up by. I know it was less than a touchdown.
I didn't see their halftime score. I saw the Regina Thunder won pretty big over the
Bolts, I
Winnipeg
think, or
Rifles.
rifles. Yeah,
Rifles, because our friend, Darren Bauming of Bonfire Sports, he does the play-by-play for the team. So he was posting a little bit throughout the game, and then reminded me. I saw later on social media that they had lost pretty badly to
yeah.
Regina, who's one of the top teams, and maybe this is Regina's year to win the PFC. So I'm
Never
curious. I
know.
did not see that, and I didn't see the final score as well. So I know Wizard Takes, maybe if he watches this, will maybe give me a little shit, but I'll have to pay attention to the this week's action in the PFC. I'm looking forward to those guys kicking off as well, and then U Sports as well. So to end the show, just a few reminders. Blake, I know you will be in attendance for the game, but I would imagine you'll be able to at least be on your phone in some sort of audio
Yep,
capacity for a post-game show afterwards. So stay tuned for that. I believe the game is a 4 o'clock kickoff, if I'm not
it is.
mistaken. So Blake and I will try to aim for, let's say, 8 o'clock or something like that. Maybe we should do it a little bit sooner because of the 3 down bros and not wanting to maybe do
8:30 they
that. But
go.
we'll see. They go at 8:30. We'll try for 7:30. We'll see if Blake is able to. But if not, to be honest, we might just have to go at 8 o'clock and kind of just make do with that. So stay tuned for that, folks. We will be within the hour afterwards. After the game, we'll be doing our post game show. Like Blake mentioned, I've been recording our U Sports, Canada West preview. I will be releasing episode 33 of the podcast series with Isaiah Johns, University of Windsor defensive back slash defensive assistant coach, former VI Raider, former University of Toronto defensive back.
It's
I
been
was
a
able to
while
talk about
since
him.
you've done a podcast episode.
It has. I know it's been like 5 or 6 months. So was able to sit down with him, talk about his journey, and then kind of do a little bit of a preview for the University of Windsor as well. So that's a cool episode I'm looking forward to releasing. And then, like Blake mentioned, the Canada West season preview series will be releasing here pretty shortly. Once I kind of get the thumbnails made and all that sort of stuff, I've already recorded a few. Shout out to Regina Thunder, Coach Josh Donnelly, a few others as well who've been kind of their time. I know training camp's starting to kick off now, so they're getting to
Regina
busy times.
Rams.
Regina Rams, yes, correct. University of Regina Rams. So a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to, man. It's been busy times. I've kind of joked just the days are going by super fast now because of
They
how
are.
busy the daily schedule is. But this is a good time. This is football season. I crave and miss these moments when it's the off season, when we're in April, May, and stuff like that. And we don't have a lot of football to talk about. These are the days that I miss. So I'm gonna relish and really enjoy these times and moments. And wish I could be in attendance on Sunday. Like I said, maybe I can make some things happen. We'll see. Payday is tomorrow, so depending on how the bills get paid and how the bank account looks, maybe I'm able to swindle things. But as of now, I don't think I'm going to be able to. But would love to be in attendance, Blake. I'm excited for you, buddy, and please do as much content as you want to and as you can throughout the game. Look forward to obviously your 3 keys to the game
Yep.
Sunday morning. And other than that, you can find Blake and I's social media in the description below. That is both on Instagram, on Twitter, and as well the Canadian Football Fanatics social media at Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram, at _CF Fanatics on Twitter. We are on, I believe, just under 200, or our goal is to get 200 followers on the Twitter page. Our goal is to get 1,000 on the Instagram. I believe we're closing in on 900 now. And then on the YouTube, we're up to 225 subscribers, I believe now. So maybe push that to 250. Stay tuned, folks. I'm looking forward to Touchdown Pacific. Going to be doing a ton of content there.
Gonna be a good time.
Cross your fingers, your toes, everything you can, your tongue. I can get an interview with Nathan Rourke in his hometown of Victoria, BC.
That'd be sick.
I'm gonna go down Thursday night is the plan. I believe the game is Saturday, so spend Thursday, Friday, the game Saturday. Being nosy as heck, hopefully having a media pass, and hopefully getting an interview with Nathan Rourke and anybody else down there. So stay tuned for that, guys. I'm really looking forward to all the content we're going to be able to do there. I know Blake's going to be able to join me Saturday afternoon at some point. We'll do a brief kind of video like we did at training camp of just our thoughts. Hopefully the BC Lions are on a 2-game winning streak. We're able to talk a lot about some good stuff. So stay tuned for that. We're really looking forward to a ton of good stuff and just the season ramping up. Once U Sports starts, hopefully Blake and I are able to get out to Thunderbird Stadium and get, I don't know if U Sports gives out media passes, but hopefully be able to get some sort of access and get some player interviews, stuff like that. So stay tuned, guys. Buckle up. Lastly, make sure you guys are subscribed. And when you guys are subscribed, press the notification bell. You guys will get notified every time we go live or post any sort of content, so you guys don't miss out. I know you guys are followed on the social medias and stuff like that, and you guys can see the posts, but it doesn't, I feel like, do justice like it does with the notification coming to your phone. So subscribe, press the notification bell. You guys won't be disappointed. Blake, any final thoughts, buddy?
No, I think you pretty much covered it all, Cole. I feel like I've been saying this for like over a month now, but this week again it's 4 really good games. Like I know the Saturday game, the records aren't that great, but the storylines are pretty good, and it's like it seems like every week we keep saying these are 4 really good games, but I think that's just to show how much parity and how good the CFL's been this year.
And just another weekly reminder, folks, on why we do the show, to tune into the CFL, even though NFL season is starting, to consume Canadian football because it is a great product. It is great athletes on the field. And most importantly, there's a lot of Canadians doing big things. We see it here in BC with Justin McInnes. I don't know if actually he's leading the CFL in receiving yards anymore,
but be anymore.
Nonetheless, we have a lot of Canadians doing a lot of good things, and even more players that aren't Canadians, global players. We've seen Thibaut Tabaye, you name it, Americans coming up here and doing it. So consume your CFL content. And if you're in the BC area, if you are in Chilliwack, Kamloops, or the Okanagan, or anywhere in BC, get your butt to BC Place on Sunday and get your butt to the parks on Saturday afternoon to consume some BCFC action. So that'll do it for the show this week, folks. Enjoy the football this weekend, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday night.